Hello and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I'm David Atkinson, Vice President of Data and Analytics at Sun Life. Today I have the pleasure of talking with Vukosi Sambo, Executive Head of Data Insights at Afrocentric Group. Vukosi, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, David. I'm excited and looking forward to the conversation today.
Yeah, thanks. And I understand you're traveling today, so you're working from not your office.
Yeah, now my other office, so we've got offices as well in Cape Town. So yeah, always good to be down here, the mother city, one of the most beautiful cities in the world.
Yeah, great. Well, nice to meet you, and thanks for joining us. So, tell us a little bit about Afrocentric Group and your role there.
Cool, thanks. So, we are the largest and most diversified healthcare group in South Africa, focusing on really medical aid administration and also health risk management predominantly. But over the last few years, we have really scaled up our asset to really cover as much of the value chain in the private healthcare delivery value chain. So as a result, we really have acquired assets even in the pharmaceutical space and also corporate wellness solutions, including shortfall covers. And really the whole intention behind it is powered by the core purpose of the group itself, which is really to transform healthcare through enabling access to quality care. And I think in the South African case, that speaks mainly to affordability. So being able to build an integrated model that really tries to drive down the cost is quite fundamental to what really we do. As obviously in the South African case, access to private healthcare is still a challenge. We literally only have just over 9 million South Africans that enjoy private healthcare cover out of our 60 plus population. That is a mere 14%. So you can imagine the burden on the state to really service the rest of the population. So anything we can do from a private sector perspective to enable or enhance access through affordability through our integrated solution approach is really something that really goes a long way for us.
Great.
And my role there,
Yep.
And my role there, obviously, as you know, is I head up the business data insights team, particularly named quite specifically in that we believe that data in itself is meaningless, and the real magic is creating meaning out of data, and that is what actually makes data insights. In that it then supports business decision and really brings to life this whole data-driven, or I would say value-driven business approach from use of data. So we really also particularly or specifically named our division to really speak to that approach in how we do data and analytics as an organization.
So I really love that. That's a great connection into your mission and vision. So tell me a little bit more about how does your company, how does Afrocentric Group leverage data and analytics to deliver on its mission?
Yeah. Look, firstly, I'm going to maybe try to really make this very, very simple in my own strong personal understanding. We actually facilitate access to care. We're really more of Uber of the healthcare. So we don't provide care. Doctors and hospitals provide care. We are really there to be the people that facilitate access to the best doctors that are going to ensure the best healthcare outcomes and experiences when you go to the doctor, and ensure that obviously your procedures or your visit or your medication is funded, quite frankly. So if you really think about it, we are a data company. We're just in the data of care, and how we handle our data speaks to that, but we don't necessarily sell anything tangible like pizza. So we actually are a data company. So actually, I personally don't even necessarily see a separation between what people will call a data strategy and a business strategy. We sell a promise to our people that secures their future when it comes to health needs, through understanding of data and trends, and we price that, and we will make sure we deliver on that when they do access that care, and we navigate them to the best doctor, to the best outcomes, where they have the best experiences, and whenever they need support along that journey, we are always there to meet them at a point of need through innovative technologies in how we even interact with them. So we are no different to Uber in terms of use of data and technology. We are as good of a data company as most of these well-known global entities in the technology space, except that we really think of our data as the data of care, because we understand this is data that speaks to people's lives, and it's not just numbers, and every interaction matters, and it could be a matter of life and death in terms of how you handle that data point or that interaction point with the person on the other side.
Yeah, so lots on the line in terms of connecting people with health and solutions and wellness. How do you measure the value or demonstrate or communicate the value that your team adds to your clients or to your partners?
Yeah. So if you really think about it, we focus on 5 fundamentals, especially also in the context of our stakeholder communities, or 2 of our biggest stakeholder communities being obviously the members or the customers themselves, and obviously the providers of care being the doctors. So from that, the most fundamental thing is really just making sure that how we analyze data to understand people's health and wellness helps us to create targeted and personalized solution for each and every one of our near 4 million customers in a way that leads them to a journey of better health and wellness. So how we measure improvement in health outcomes in the key health metrics is it's probably the most key area. And also the second one then becomes, how do we deliver that in the most affordable way to again speak to the core purpose that I highlighted to you in the beginning, to ensure that we continue to be sustainable, have ability to keep the product cost effective, and as a result expand the access. So how we then remove waste in the system by ensuring that the data empowers us to understand and predict conditions for people, help us remove maybe unnecessary procedures that people maybe could have had. For example, how we understand fraud and waste analytics in the system, either from any of the players in the ecosystem, to ensure that there's a compliance to best practices is quite key. So those 2 for us are fundamental to what we drive. The third one that comes into really the picture for us is really the experience itself. We are dealing with a very unique product in that, be it on the happier side, you are trying to get help or support from our product because your loved one is going to deliver a newborn and it's a happy season, or versus someone who's just maybe been diagnosed with a life-threatening activities. The emotive nature of the product itself demand that our approach to customer experience and even servicing at every interaction is very unique, and is supported by best technologies that are innovative and understand sentiment and take care of that conversation and ensure that that person is left secure, comfortable, and with a comfort that their needs will be met as far as possible. And that we also try to achieve on the doctor's side, and where also data then brings them together, is to say, at that point of service, when you go to your doctor, how do we help both the parties understand each other better, so that your doctor is able to deliver the best service to you through understanding of your health history, and versus the kind of symptoms that you could be there for. So data and analytics and being able to apply advanced algorithms of machine learning, artificial intelligence, allow us to be able to deliver that to both those parties when care is provided. So those fundamentals for us are really what strongly drive the purpose of how we believe we are delivering or adding value to the healthcare system and growing capacity and access.
So, as the head of data insights, you must deal with lots of sort of esoteric data points and lots of complexities with statistical analysis and so forth. How do you communicate that, and how do you communicate the value that you're delivering through data and analytics?
Yeah, that's a very inciting one, and I've got some few analogies that maybe I will share with you. And I mean, it speaks a lot to the power of data storytelling. But first, to contextualize maybe to our world, your question in numbers to start off with is that we deal with around 26 million interaction points on a monthly basis. From our client base, be it claims data points, be it servicing touch points themselves. You know, it's the most transactional form of insurance, as you would imagine. Unlike life insurance, where you really mainly interact the day you take the cover and the day you die, and you really not even there to enjoy the benefit yourself. Whereas here, you will step out of this interview, pass by your pharmacy, and get some few drugs for your headache or whatever. So it is much more transactional from an insurance perspective. In that case. So that's why we've got so many interactions. And what that means is that for our near 4 million client base, if you think of the data points that then we are gathering and the demographics behind each and every person that we're gathering that data about, and you contextualize it using the analogy of Lego. In Lego, basically, if you've got two Lego 6x2 pieces, you can make 24 different shapes. The minute that gets to 6, you are looking at a near billion opportunities of the shapes that you can create. And the same is with data. When you start understanding the permutations that come from these different data points per person, in our world, for those millions of interactions that I just contextualized to you, it means every 8 months we are sitting for, on average, for every one of our customers with those near billion opportunities as well. So that is huge. And the purpose of data and analytics, just like in Lego, most of the shapes that you would have built are pretty much really useless, right? And some at least represent something that may maybe look like a building, a car, or a bridge, or whatever. And similar here is to say, how do you apply the power of machine learning and artificial intelligence to pull out or filter out stories that actually are meaningful out of the junk of the other combinations. That actually is the purpose of our advanced analytics function in our data cluster. So when we do that guided by the purpose that I think storytelling has. Storytelling for me really brings structure into your system. It's all about the systems thinking. It's about the interconnected nature of coherently related data points. And when you start creating those stories and telling them in an order that is impactful and empowers the user to be able to make a decision and write their future, then you attract them to participate, to say, this is not just a number, this is not just a graph, this person is telling me a story, and this is art. I call it art, the order in which you then understand the meaning of these data points, how they connect, how the flow of the story, how you position it, the user design, the experience itself. It creates this universal appeal to the user. Then you are likely to have higher levels of adoption in your drive to democratize use of data and insight in organization with business users.
Well, thank you, Vukosi, for joining me today. Very informative. I appreciate your time. And thanks to the watchers. Please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews. I'm David Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, David. Thanks for having me.